A last week group discussion at one of the Delhi University colleges was Sustainable Development Goals, India's shameful crash in the rank in recent times. And the students were then asked to come up with reasons, and the jury demanded that tell us 3 things that India should do. Now in such a GD, even before I explain the details to you, you should know some basic things. Sustainable Development Goals were agreed as part of a United Nations initiative in 2015. And all the countries of the world have to follow 17 goals. But there are some of the goals which are very important, so you should know. And suppose you are not aware of this topic, you should commonsensically, after hearing for a few minutes, be able to make it out that the first goal is related to poverty. Second is related to hunger. Third is related to health. Fourth is related to education. Fifth is related to gender equality. Sixth is related to clean water, sanitation. Then so on and so forth. There are about smart cities, infrastructure, equal growth of the nation, these kind of points. The idea is a society which is progressing and all human beings have good quality of life. So goal number 1 is about poverty. And the idea is that by 2030, everybody should be above the poverty line. India is in a very shameful situation where even today, more than 20% are below poverty line. And definition of poverty line itself is very controversial. A Raghuram Rajan committee said that somebody who earns roughly $1 in cities and about $0.50 in rural villages is above poverty line. Now that is very controversial, but even with such low standards, India is at a very abysmal level of about more than 20% people in BPL. So this is a big challenge for government. Then is about hunger. Hunger speaks about nobody should be malnutrition and there should be no wasting or undernourishment of children. But here also India has a very pathetic record because about 20 to 30% of children are suffering from this. The third is related to health, and health focuses on maternal deaths, the death of pregnant lady while childbirth or before that, the death of child during the young age. And of course, there are some specific contagious diseases and other diseases like tuberculosis and health level. India's average life is approximately 70 years. So average life is not bad. But the problem lies in the death of pregnant ladies during childbirth, which is very shameful. And the death of kids when they are just born. That is something which is very shameful, so you should bear that some important principles in mind. Then comes related to the principle of creating an egalitarian society where we are talking about growth of everybody. Here again, India has very shameful, uneven distribution of wealth across the nation. The top 1% occupy approximately 50% of the wealth or more than that, which is quite similar to the globe also. So in that sense, well, that's a reality. The criteria number 4 is education. Now, education is controversial. India's primary education rate is about 96%. Our secondary pass out, which is class 10th, is also about 85%. These numbers are not bad. But the problem is employability. Our education suffers from a serious challenge that the output is not productive. Even graduates or postgraduates don't get good jobs. So it's vocational orientation, which is the question mark when it comes to education of our country. And finally, 5th, gender equality, which is the abyss. States like Haryana have the notorious shameful distinction of about 810 or 820 girl child for every 1,000. The country's average is also hovering at a very lamentable 960 or something like that. So roughly, let's say 4753. Gender equality is expected in terms of equal opportunity employment for girls, safety in terms of domestic violence, crime against female, and educational equal opportunities. On all of these parameters, Indian record is really lamentable. However, what you must know were you to get such a topic? It's not all of these things. Of course, you should know these points, but something more. We have countries like Bhutan, which is ranked 75th. We have Sri Lanka at 96. Even Bangladesh is higher than us. We are at a very shamefully low 120th position. Only Pakistan among the neighboring countries is bad and not too far behind, 129. So where is India going wrong? What should India do will be the GD topic. Now suppose you were to initiate. So as always, the Brahmastra for Initiator is my respected colleagues. Please allow me to welcome you all at this very prestigious GD of D.E. Shaw. We all at DTU are really honored that D.E. Shaw is here. And today we have been given a very pertinent topic, that Sustainable Development Goals, India's shameful fall is a sign of great worry and what should be done. Now, this is a topic which affects the life of everyone. Issues like poverty, hunger, economic equality, female equality are vital. Russian Revolution, European Revolution, all of these revolutions, including French Revolution, have shown that if there is no equality, then no matter how rich the society is, there will be some revolution which will destroy everything. So if you have Adanis, Ambanis who are becoming richer every day and the poor man becoming poorer, someday rest not, because a revolution will break out. So the topic is very relevant. However, my friends, we have very limited time. We have been given 15 minutes and it's a compulsory consensus. So may I propose we should try to focus on what are the main sustainable development goals. Of course, we know there are 17, but we may not have time to discuss all of them. So we could pick up 4 or 5 main. Then we should spend a lot of time focusing on what is it that is hindering the Indian government in achieving them. And finally, the group can conclude with 3 recommendations. What is Narendra Modi government do? So if everybody agrees, maybe the gentleman over here, can you start? Thank you so much for your introduction. So I believe that in terms of sustainable development goals, the 5 goals which India really needs to focus and which are very vital for us is poverty elimination, then hunger eradication, education for all, equality for female. But regrettably, I think India is not able to do that. And here I feel there are 3 main reasons. Number 1, population. No matter how much the government does, if population keeps increasing like this, how can you feed so many hungry mouths? How can you do enough so that everybody is able to enough? So I think while we are looking at this target, we have to take the role of uniform civil code. It should be said that every segment of society should be compulsorily asked to file the China policy, only 1 child. Because if we don't control population, some people produce more child, some people produce less, the country cannot progress. No, my dear friend, you are going very controversial. Don't talk about religion. This is not Hindu versus Muslim. Let's remain professional about it. So please stop. So, okay, my dear friends, I think while the issue of population is very important, I feel there are 3 very big reasons. First, grave and most serious is corruption in government. The problem is not money. The problem is ministers and the politicians. The money comes. United Nations gives a lot of charity. Various bodies give charity. Government also allocates. But the ministers and various corrupt people eat up the money and nothing goes to the poor man. As a result, the development doesn't happen. Okay, my friend, one of you is talking about Hindu-Muslim, another of you is talking about politician. Could we focus on more logical points here? Okay, please go ahead. So I would like to give 3 logical reasons here. The first and the most serious factor is insufficient fund allocation. A country with a GDP of 3 trillion should be allocating at least about $100 billion. Various research have shown that India needs about $50 billion to come out of poverty, hunger and health crisis. But regrettably, our allocation is less than $10 to $20 billion, and that too, of course, like my friend said, leaks away. So first message is that Modi government must increase allocation. Second is public-private participation. No matter how big the initiative, this kind of goal cannot be done by the government alone. So the rich business houses, the Tata Group, the Birla Group, the Reliance Group should be encouraged to participate. But then we know rich entrepreneurs basically work for money or regulation. So government so far is making mandatory to give 2% of PAT to charity. I think this 2% must be increased to at least 10%. And government can have schemes by which tax incentive can be given, or some special status can be given, or special land allocation can be given to those groups who donate for charity and NGO. Number 3 is management. The worst problem, my friends, it's not money, it's not technology, it's people. Even today, not many of our youth who are the prestigious MBAs want to go and work for an NGO in a village. How many of you, all brilliant Delhi technological engineers, want to go to a village and work over there? How many of you, you brilliant DTU, MBAs, want to go into small, very tiny kind of a district and work over there? None. Everybody wants to go work for a McKinsey, a BCG, Bain. You guys want to work in New York, Singapore. Who will take care of the villages? Who will eradicate? You are leaving it to the politicians whom you are saying are corrupt. So I think a very important need is some sort of regulation. I'm not saying to have a conscription like South Korea or North Korea, but the youth which enjoys the benefit of great MBAs should have some regulations to give it back for 2 years, 3 years, and that is one thing which government can consider. Okay, next one. Yes, my friend, I think you are coming to a good point. However, may I say one more thing? There is a need for our country to make alliances with countries which have built successful models. Every time a European technology person comes up with the idea, the government vetoes. So that's not good. And I think if we make those alliances, we can do a better job of focusing on this. Alright, please allow me to see. I'm Meera. Can I say something on as a voice of the girls? Sure, Meera, please go ahead. I believe that charity begins at home. Wear your oxygen mask first before helping others. You talk about female equality, whereas it is the mother only who kills the girl in her fetus. It is the mother-in-law only who tortures the daughter-in-law. How can you have an equal society if our culture doesn't change? So long as we'll have shameful practices like dowry or harassment or eve-teasing of girls, how can we have an equalitarian society where female is encouraged? So I believe, friends, we cannot ignore the role of family, society, RWA, colony. Are we doing enough to take care of our girls? Maybe no. Okay guys, I think we have had a very animated discussion. So time is very limited. So Mr. Mohan, can you summarize the group discussion? Okay, thank you so much. So my respected colleagues, I think we had a very animated discussion. I want to congratulate you for bringing different points. So all in all, I think the group agrees that for the country, there are 3 major things that we have to focus on. First is money. Second is manpower. And third is mandate. Money will come through private-public participation. So Modi government must do the first thing of incentivizing and also instructing by taxation reform so that the rich corporates have to give more money. Second is manpower. So long as the brilliant talent of our country doesn't work in NGOs, doesn't go to the villages, doesn't go to the small districts, who will lead the revolution? So the brilliant engineers, IITs, IIMs must have some regulations to give some time, maybe not through force, but through motivation and reward scheme so that they can dedicate their time because they will script the revolution. And thirdly is mandate. Mandate will come when society and culture changes. So it begins at our family. It begins with our mothers, it begins with our parents, our fathers and all of us. So we should also make a vow to respect the girl child, be philanthropically oriented, not just money minded, and help India become a better nation. So I believe with these words, we'd like to give our recommendation to the jury and conclude the group discussion. Thank you so much. So like this, even though you did not know about all the 17 SDG goals, you didn't know much. There are various ways you can come in. And the Brahmastra way is, no matter what kind of economic topic, you can talk about private-public participation. You can talk about incentivizing the brilliant talent to come and work over there. And thirdly, you can start about beginning the change by changing our families. If families and societies only won't change, how will we bring a future which is harbingering a modern India? So use these rules related to private-public participation, related to encouraging capable talent to remain in India, avoiding brain drain, and family level change to make your intervention. So follow the rule of 3 and ace your discussions and get your dream job. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.